So I just watched Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, and bruh, that shit dark as hell. So much so that I am genuinely curious on what the cinema score for this movie will be. Because Marvel needs a win right now. They need this bad. After several movies that have left the general audience kind of somewhat disappointed, and then the crime against humanity, Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, Marvel needs this bad. So a lot of pressure is actually on this movie to deliver. Now, I think this movie delivers. But I think some parents are going to take their kids in this movie and be like, what the hell? And I know when I say a hyperbole like that, especially with the MCU, there's going to be all these people that just roll their eyes and it's like, man, everyone says this about every Marvel movie. It's awesome. It's the best. Oh, but it's one of the darkest MCU movies. And then in reality, it's just like someone got killed and it's like, okay, great. But this movie with Rocket's origin story, which has been well known that it's going to explore, it is dark. And this review is no spoilers. I never do any spoilers in my reviews. All I'm saying is I would not be surprised if there's going to be some think pieces about animal cruelty. And that's where we start off, okay? We're starting with the fucking bang. I don't know if that's true. I don't know the reviews. I actually haven't seen anyone's reaction. I've come into this completely blind, and I didn't even check after the screen. But I just envision people complaining about that. And now I'm not thrusting that on the movie, right? I'm not going to talk about this here. I think the movie's very good, and everything with Rocket I think is fantastic. All I'm saying is I'm very curious to see how this movie does. I don't really care about opening weekend, even though it's cool. I want to see the word of mouth and how this grows. Because at the end of the day, for me, this is a good movie. This is a win for Marvel. One thing I'm a sucker for, and I think a lot of people are sucker for, are found family movies, right? This group of misfits, they find each other, they become a family, they become like this, and it's beautiful. You look no further than the Guardians of the Galaxy in the MCU. Now, this has been well known and is being advertised as their send-off. And as a send-off, I think it absolutely works. And the movie knows it too. The movie certainly acts like a finale and a send-off. And if this was the last MCU movie ever, I would end with a smile on my face. And it's a credit to James Gunn that I never ever viewed the Guardians as some of my favorite MCU characters, right? I've always been drawn to Spider-Man or Iron Man or whoever. But throughout the journey of these characters to now in the finale, I'm a little bummed out. I'm a little sad. I can't lie. I maintain that the humor is a little hit or miss for me, right? I've maintained that even from Guardians of the Galaxy 2 to now. The humor's hit or miss, but with comedies, I never expect it to bat 100. And since you love these characters so much, there's actual stakes. There's actual stakes in this movie. Like, wow, I don't want to see this character in peril. Wow, I hope this character pulls it out. Wow, I actually care what happens to you, bro. You listening, Ant-Man? And as you're watching, you're like, damn, I'm attached to these characters, and it's emotional, and it hits, and it's sad, and it's dark. And even if people walk away from this movie completely disturbed by Rocket's origin story or whatever, I'm glad Marvel did this. I'm glad they did it. I'm glad they didn't hold back on everything here. Now, I know I'm making this movie sound like Schindler's List, but it's not. It's still the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. There's still the jokes. There's all the humor that people like. And personally, I thought the Rocket origin story was so good that it actually hindered the first half of the movie. The movie kind of throughout up until the third act is balancing between where they are now and Rocket's origin story, right? It's kind of going back and forth. And because Rocket's origin story, A, I think is very well done, and I think it's so good. But B, it is so dark and serious. It is not played for laughs at all. It's a little jarring tonally. It kind of messes up the flow of the movie where it's a little bit messy. But as the movie goes on, I think it slowly starts to get its footing, and the third act comes in and it hits. It sticks the landing. In fact, I was just incredibly happy, and I had this realization where I was like, I have grown up with these characters, right? I have. Guardians came out in 2014 in the summer. At that age, I was 16, I believe. I'm 25 now. I mean, that's like the pivotal time for your life, And there was a sense of gratitude that I had, honestly, which is weird. And this is why you need a director who actually loves the characters and stories because you feel it, and B, a director that's like not ashamed of what they're doing. This is a comic book movie, okay? And I know for all the shit it gets, I like it when someone just unabashedly being like, yeah, like, what's good? This is a comic book movie. We're going to have some dumb shit here. We're going to have some A-list actors talk about some lines that they don't even know what's going on, but it doesn't matter because it's directed with such sincerity that honestly, I can forgive all the flaws. And there are flaws in this movie. This is not perfect, okay? I actually expect this to be somewhat divisive. But as the final song in the movie plays and it is going around in a montage, I was happy. It's not a spoiler to say that this will be the last time with kind of this same group of Guardians, and the cast give all great performances as always. I think the villain as the High Evolutionary, Chukwudi Iwuji, which is, by the way, a fire ass name. I mean, that man was born to be famous with that name. And it was just a good time, which y'all know. That's all I ask for. I view these movies kind of like the Guardians view themselves. They're all flawed, but you love them for their flaws and you're able to forgive it. To me, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 is a fitting finale, a good movie, genuinely dark, emotional moments, and personally, I love that. Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, 4 stars? I'll admit 4 might be like a little nice, to be honest, but like I'm feeling nice, so like give me a break. This is make it or break it time for Marvel. That if this movie does not do well, man, things are gonna I don't even know. I don't even know what's gonna happen. And by the way, thank you for actually having good visual effects this time. Thank you.